Hello. How the bloody hell are you? Welcome back to another episode of the Not Just Revenue podcast, where obviously we talk about things beyond revenue. In business, everything feels to be about sales and how we can make more money. And yes, of course, I want that for you. And actually, today's topic is talking about making money, but done from a perspective of we're not just in it to make more money, we're in it to live our best lives and to, yeah. I have nothing grander than that, really. So hello. I'm sounding ever so slightly less bunged up. I'm not going to say I'm cured because, you know me. But I've been having a really interesting week. I have decided to lean more into the woo, but more from like a neuroscience point of view. If that makes sense. Like I'm here for if the woo is real. I'm here for it. Okay. That would make me happy. But in case it's not, it does just work from a neuroscience point of view anyway. And when I say neuroscience, psychology, whatever you want to say, mindset. I have a friend who does tarot and all of that. She is very woo. And so we met up for a drink. It was really nice. And yeah, she gave me a reading. And yeah, as ever, everything felt very aligned. I have an oracle deck, actually, that I bought a while ago that I didn't know what to do with. And I just kind of did a little reading there this morning and don't really know massively what I've taken away from it, but I'm just using it to maybe help me trust the process a little bit. So yeah, I just thought I'd share that. This episode is 3 reasons why your income has plateaued. So we are actually talking about income today. On this podcast, we talk about everything from sales, money mindset, pensions, like the whole. If it touches money, we talk about it. And that's what I love. I love that I'm not boxed in, an accountant is boxed into talking about business, financial advisor is mostly boxed in talking about personal finance, sales, business coach, they're talking about that. And I feel like I cover this really wide breadth of things, which is why I love what I do so much. So I have my notes here. When I say I have my notes, I literally just have the 3 things that I've written down. So let's just get into it. So the first reason why your income might have plateaued, and I guess first of all, maybe I should define what an income plateau is. But an income plateau is essentially when your income stops growing. So maybe you were in a season of growth and it just kind of stopped. And you're probably making money, like money is coming in, but it isn't growing. It's not coming any faster. It's just kind of like happening. But you feel like you're doing all the things. So this was actually me last year. Within my first 10 months of going into business, I got to 5K months. And then for 18 months, I stayed at 5K months. Like the whole of last year, I had 5K months. But it was, between like 4.5 and 6, I had like 1 7K month. You know what I mean? Like on average, we were at 5K months pretty consistently. And I found that actually really frustrating at the time because when I had that growth in my first year, I actually made quite a big, scary investment. And I really trusted myself that this was gonna keep going, and I felt like I was doing all the right things and I was investing a lot in growth, but ultimately the growth didn't happen. I continued at 5K months until this year, where it has dropped off considerably. And it's fine. I have talked about it before on the podcast. If you want to listen to the last few episodes, I'm pretty candid about the situation. I think the fact that I'm painfully self-aware of what has happened, and I'm going to talk about that in this episode and hopefully help you, but also because I'm a money coach and because the very thing that I help people with is building financial resilience. I think I've realized that today, that's actually the thing that I teach ultimately is financial resilience. This idea, that you can navigate the difficult periods and enjoy the good periods. And actually, even though right now my income has drastically reduced, and yes, there are more stresses when it comes to money than I would like, I still know what to do. I still have an answer for everything. And that is because of the skills and the knowledge that I have and, yeah, the resilience. And that is ultimately what I teach my clients. I mean, there are obviously a few clients that I have that do have massive reserves. And so they do this work and they're able to grow savings and investments, pay off debt at like a very fast rate. But I don't tend to promote the big shiny numbers. And that's because for the majority of my clients, actually, it's less so about the amount that they get to save and the amount that they pay off debt. It's more about the fact that they now feel calm and in control, even when maybe things aren't going to plan. And I think that is the most important skill that you can learn. Anyway, income plateaus. Like I've said, I'm painfully self-aware of everything that I've done that has caused this, well, ultimately the plateau last year, but then going into this period of low sales, which again, because I have that financial resilience, I'm able to take on these lessons and shift, adjust, move on from them, and I know what to do. Whereas if I didn't have that financial resilience, like I would be working 9 to 5 right now. Like I'm 4 months into this kind of like low income phase. I wouldn't be here if I did not have the financial resilience. Anyway, I need to stop talking about me and try and help you. So, number one, which is probably this is the biggest one. I thought I'd just start with this. And it's the biggest one because it can be a whole host of reasons, a whole host of different things that come into this depending on your own situation. But essentially, it is that a belief has shifted. Now, this could be, and this is what I mean, like it's so vague because the belief can be a whole host of things, but there is a belief that has shifted. Whether your belief in yourself, your belief in your abilities, your belief in your results, your belief about your security, your belief about relationships and how money works in relationships. That honestly, it could be a whole host of things. And this is where it's maybe useful to sit down and if you can, like meditate or journal or take that time to really think about what it is that has shifted. And it's probably going to be multiple things. I think for me, obviously, I'm kind of only able to use my own examples this past year, but I think I didn't believe that I could earn more. I don't, like kind of deep within me, I'm like, okay, like 5K feels like that's enough. And even then, I was making sure, and this was subconsciously, that I was spending so that my take-home pay was still what kind of I deemed was safe and that was enough. And that ceiling, I couldn't seem to break that ceiling. And now I actually had a session with another money coach because I was like, what the hell is going on here? Why is my income plateaued? And we actually came to the conclusion that it was to do with my relationship. And it was to do with the fact that I wanted to make more and to bring in more money. And I really want to provide for my family. And I want to be, it's more like for show. Like I want to show that I can bring in this money and provide. But at the same time, I didn't want to rock the boat. I didn't want to rock the boat at home around gender norms and income. Because my partner now, we have spoken before about how I really love working and making money. So I'm going to be breadwinner and he's going to be like the stay-at-home dad. And so almost like that was the aspiration I was holding myself to. But then at some point, and I actually don't know when he said this, but it would be really interesting if I can ever find out when he said this and whether it ties into when my income started plateauing, because I reckon there's a connection there. He basically said, and I think it's because my income was growing quite considerably, that actually he wouldn't be comfortable with that because he didn't want other people's opinion on him as a man. Like if he wasn't contributing like monetarily to the household, And obviously, like, that's his own thing to work through. And I think if we got to the position where I could cover both of our incomes, like he probably would work through that, and he would ultimately not become stay at home, but he'd definitely like shift career. He is a really good artist, like he's an illustrator and artist, and I know that he wants to do something with graphic design, but he doesn't really give himself the chance to. So I know that I could give him that. But ultimately, that caused, because now, and I have, again, this is where I'm more telling you my situation so you can think inwardly about your own belief system. My belief system is built on a history of childhood trauma. And so I am constantly scanning for threats. Now, as I go through adult life, I am getting better and better at managing this. But instantly being told, actually, I wouldn't want you to be able to cut, like, I don't want to, basically, like, I think my subconscious was taking it as, if I start to earn more money, and I was already earning more money than him, but if I started earning even more money, then that would be perceived like as a threat. And obviously, nervous system is like, we don't do threats over here. Let's try and keep ourselves as safe as possible. That is just one of the reasons, I think. So I kind of share that with you so that maybe you can think about your internal belief system and where a lot of your beliefs come from, and maybe what it is. Like, is it that you actually don't believe in your ability to earn more? Maybe you believe there is a ceiling, whether that comes from like childhood, whether it comes from a relationship, whether it just comes from a belief about your ability to make money. I know for me, like, I grew up in poverty. This idea that I can make a lot of money still feels a bit alien to me. And again, like, it's something that we're constantly working through, like mindset stuff. We are constantly working through it because so much of it is held in our subconscious that we're just not aware of. And it isn't until we really start to think about it and bring it to the surface that we can start to challenge those beliefs. And obviously, when I'm like in a one-to-one coaching relationship with someone, and sometimes these beliefs do come up and we're able to work through them, of course, but also you can kind of like journal and meditate and get to that yourself. So I would say probably the main reason why your income has plateaued is because a belief has shifted. Okay. What you once believed to be true is no longer true, or what you believe to be true is true, but like you've hit the ceiling of that belief. Okay. The second reason, and we're getting more tangible now. So that was like very high level, like mindset. That's like probably the big reason. And then there are kind of a few other little reasons why your income might be plateauing. Not adding enough new leads. Now, again, this comes from my own experience. Last year, I used to have a really big audience, and then I kind of started again and had to cull that big audience. What that meant was I essentially got rid of about 1,500 email subscribers, which meant I only had under 1,000 email subscribers, and I was selling to them constantly all year, and I wasn't really adding any new leads. Like, I would occasionally do, different live events throughout the year for launches, but I would get people that were already on the list, that they were already kind of like fans of my work, but you know what I mean? So I wasn't consistently adding new leads. And obviously what happened at the beginning of this year when I tried to sell this, they're like, well, I've kind of heard all of this, and the people that were gonna buy, like the action takers, have already bought. And the people that still need longer, so there's not a lot I can do there. But ultimately, I'm not adding any more people. I'm not adding any more leads who maybe have a shorter nurture time to purchase. So I want you to think about, how often are you adding people to your world? Okay, how often are you bringing people? And I don't just mean like one or two, I'm talking hundreds. Okay, how often are you bringing hundreds of leads through your doors? Okay, in the last It's just over a month now. So I'm going to say like month and a half, 2 months. Let's say 2 months. In the last 2 months, I've added about 500 new people to my email list. I actually just started doing the work that is needed to bring in new leads. So I've been doing bundles and summits, other like email lists, like swaps, things like that. And not all of them have stayed, and that's great. I don't want them to all stay because I know that, when I'm getting a mass influx of new subscribers, a lot of them are not going to be aligned. But again, I don't care because ultimately I will net out higher, if that makes sense. So my email list will still be a lot higher. I'm still going to have a lot of new people. And actually, in the past, I've heard things around like bundles and summits and how the audience that you get, freebie seekers and things like that. And I don't necessarily find that to be true. Whenever I have done bundles and summits in the past, I have gotten clients. It happened before where I did a bundle 1 month. The next month I launched an offer and someone joined, like without question. I'd literally never heard of them before. I was like, okay, cool. Just recently I had someone inquire about 6-figure safety and she's actually going to join in the summer, but we were having an email conversation. And so I was like, where did you come from? And it was from a recent bundle that I did. So already, and that was literally a month. She'd been on my email list 1 month and was inquiring. Now, the only reason why she wasn't jumping in today was literally financial reasons of like, okay, and again, she's like, I know what I need to do. I just need time to do it. And so I'm going to join in the summer. And so, yeah, there's no right or wrong way to add leads to your business, but it is important that you do it. I've had success with almost all types of lead generation activities. I've had success with networking, in person, online, with bundles, with summits, with running live events, with running meta ads. Like, I've done it all. It all kind of works. It's ultimately down to you and your sales skills and the rest of the stuff behind the scenes of how you are then nurturing and selling to that audience. But the reason why I didn't want to talk about how to sell in this episode, because if your income is plateauing, that tells me you know how to make money. You've proven the skill. You know how to make money, just not making enough of it, or it's not growing fast enough. Okay? So you know how to make money. And the third reason why your income is plateauing is because you've done the old switcheroo. And that's probably come from these previous 2 points, right? Your beliefs have shifted. Maybe you've not added a new lead, so you've like been selling and you're like, I've been selling and nothing's working. And it feels like nothing's working. And so spaghetti. You throw spaghetti at the wall, you change things. Okay. And you kind of panic and throw things out there. And hey, there's no shame, there's no judgment because I'm exactly the same. That's why I'm in this situation. In the last 5 months, all of my offers have changed. And I'm over here like, why not have new clients? Probably because I don't fucking know about your offers, Emily. And that came from me. Like, I'm not immune to the wobbles and the panic. Okay. If I recognize, and it's hilarious because I remember in December thinking, no one's buying one thing. I've not made any money. Like last December. So historically, Decembers for me are really good. So I'd kind of just assumed I was going to ride that wave and then didn't. And so I was like, no, I'm buying, blah, 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 blah. And what that causes is, yes, okay, I'm able to look at the numbers and go very practically, okay, it's fine. But there's also the other part of my mindset that's like, okay, something's not working, I need to fix it. I'm a fixer. It is I don't know, like if you're into human design, I'm a 5-1 generator. I'm always doing new things. Also, maybe that's ADHD as well. So I'm always doing new things. I'm like, the fun, like things that incite joy, and like that's not a bad thing. But I wasn't adding new things out of joy. I was adding new things out of desperation and changing things out of desperation because I was like, something isn't working and I need to change it now. And so I would change the messaging on my sales pages like probably every day. Like, I'm that person doing that and then not actually giving it enough time to like land and see. Because I guess I still like, there's still part of my nervous system in that moment that believed like I needed to make money like yesterday. And so I wasn't giving anything a chance. So I would change the messaging, and when I would, say that wouldn't work, whether that's after like a month or a day. And then I would try something else, like change how the offer is structured, change the price of the offer, change this, change that. But ultimately, I just was like, the offer's not selling. Just get rid of the offer altogether and make this new offer. Okay. I am not perfect, but I know what I've tough. And I can use this lesson going forward. I'm teaching myself to be a lot more patient, to give things a chance. Momentum is really, really important. Actually, now building this momentum and allowing that to pay off, and not just like using silence as an excuse to change things up. Like, I use silence as a way to be like, okay, people are thinking. So yeah, I want you to think about if your income has plateaued in the last couple of months. I would love for you to think about what beliefs have shifted for you. What has changed with your belief system? Have you added new leads consistently? Are they aligned leads? And I know that's quite hard to work out sometimes, but let's say for me, like doing bundles and summits, I will only apply to ones that are obviously business to business. I know I'm going to get business owners, but also ones that are aligned with like money and sales and things like that, so that people are already actively looking for solutions to a problem. And where have you been changing things where maybe you should have just given them a chance? Okay. Those are my prompts for you to think on today. Let me know if you have found this useful. And yeah, I will see you in the next episode. Bye.